Hello everyone, Chris here and welcome back to Venture Outside. Got another video for you guys today. Kind of runs along the lines with my Ultralight cook kit video that I released a few weeks back. Today I'm going to show you how to dry bake with that cook kit, and without further ado, let's get started. So as I mentioned before in my prior cook kit video, boiling water is great. I find it very convenient. I have many ways to do it. Dry baking, it's truly a treat on the trail, but there's a few caveats that come with that. And for me, a few of those are, it's got to be easy, right? We don't really want to spend a whole lot of time when we get to camp fussing over a whole lot of things. We want cleanup to be relatively easy because after you enjoy what you bake, you don't really want to have to deal with scraping out a pan for 15-20 minutes. So I've been kind of toying with the idea of how can I make dry baking easy for me on the trail. I'm currently using the Bobcat Senior by Flat Cat Gear to boil my water for my meals. It's doing a great job of that. Super convenient, really easy to use. Everything packs down into the pot, which I really like. But I wanted to explore dry baking a bit, and I did notice on the Flat Cat Gear website that you can actually add a baking pan to your kit, which also conveniently nests inside the cook pot as well. This is a Fat Daddy-O's anodized aluminum 4x4 baking pan with the rim trimmed off. So as far as convenience goes, I'm sure everybody's seen these. They're in your local grocery store. I know Walmart carries them around here. I even think Dollar Tree does. So they run about $1 a package. They come in a variety of flavors. For today's video, we're going to do a blueberry muffin. They also have banana nut, I think triple berry, as well as you can also do, I know Bisquick makes a convenient package size like this that bakes, in our case, one large biscuit or one large muffin. So the first step I do is I'm going to repackage this because the packaging's kind of heavy and it kind of runs along the lines of preparation too. So what I'll do is I will actually take the contents of this and put it into a ziplock bag, and I will use a Sharpie and I'll put down the contents of what it is. So in our case it'll be blueberry muffin. And most of these packages of muffins or biscuits, they typically only call for a half a cup of water. So I'll usually write how much water it needs, and in my head I kind of know how long these need to bake, at least with my system, which is around 40 to 50 minutes. So once you've transferred your baking mix, so whether it be a brownie, muffin, biscuit, into your Ziploc bag, and you have it labeled with what it is and how much water or powdered milk or powdered egg or whatnot you need to add, your second item that's going to lead to a simple and convenient baking process is going to be these little discs of parchment paper. So you'll need to get a roll of parchment paper and use your baking pot or pan, and then you're going to want to trace an outline onto your parchment paper and then cut them out. I normally put these in a Ziploc bag along with a couple pieces of paper towel into my cook kit or my ditty bag, something where it's going to stay nice and safe and not get crushed. If it does, I guess it's not too big of a deal. But this is truly the key that I found for a nice, convenient, and easy dry bake on the trail. And what this does is, since you're lining the bottom of the baking pan, all you really need to do is take like the back end of your long-handled spoon, or if you have a small pocket knife. Once it's finished baking, just run that knife around the outside of the baking pan, around the outside perimeter, and if you tip it over, it should release really cleanly. And then all you have left to do is maybe a little bit of scrubbing with a little green pad or a sponge, and your baking dish is relatively clean and it's ready for the next one. So I'll also show you too that this bag is dual purpose. Not only does it save weight over the regular factory packaging, you'll also be using this to mix your mix into, whether it's muffin or a biscuit. You can actually pour your water straight into here, knead it up, and cut a corner of the bag and kind of squeeze it into your baking pot. And once that's done, that'll go in the trash. Once your baking's done, your piece of used parchment will go in your trash bag and you should be good to go. Like I said, I'm going to demonstrate that here shortly, but it's going to be really nice and easy. Okay, so once you have your water and your liquids added to your baking mix, I kind of give it a good knead in the baggie, try to force some of the air out if you've got a huge air pocket in there. Make sure you zip it up really well because you kind of don't want it getting all over the place. But once it's thoroughly incorporated, I take my baking dish and I make sure that my parchment liner is in the bottom. Honestly, instead of using a knife sometimes, I'll just tear a corner off with my finger of the bag. I guess you could pour it out at the top if you really wanted to, and then it just pours right in. And if you got kids around, that sound effect will probably get a few laughs. So keep that in mind. Sorry, it's a little windy here. Okay, once I've got most of it in there, I'll just try to get the rest of it in. Okay, and like I said, this little baggie will get wadded up and thrown into your trash bag. And what we will do is we will get our stove going. Again, this is the Flat Cat Gear Bobcat Senior with the Epicurean titanium stove. And for this we'll be using the slow bake method instead of the boil method, so it'll be ridges at the top. Okay. Got our Esbit cube in there. We'll light the Esbit cube. Okay, I believe that is going. Apologies, it's a little windy out here today, so it may take a few tries to get it lit. And I think it is on. Yep, it is on. Hard to see, it's so sunny out here. Okay, so it's lit. And what I'll do is I will take my baking pot, put my baking pan in the pot, and then put it right on top of the stove, and we will put our lid over it. And what I do is I like to set a timer usually for biscuits or muffins. It makes one really large biscuit or muffin. It's about 40 to 45 minutes, I found, and usually that's the exact burnout time of the Esbit. If you find your Esbit's burning a little bit longer, once it's done you can just blow out the Esbit cube and save the rest for later. So what we'll do is we'll come back in 45 minutes and I'll show you the finished product. Okay, so 45 minutes has elapsed. Let's take a look. Well, that looks pretty good. Looks like it's getting brown along the sides. Maybe a little bit, could have been a little bit browner on the top, but that's not a big deal. Let's go ahead and get it out of the baking dish and let's see what we've got. Okay, like I said, I used my long-handled spoon and I gently scraped it around the edge of the baking pan, and yeah, it doesn't look too bad. I mean, yeah, it's going to be a little bit of work. I'd probably let it soak for a little while if you have a water source handy, but in my experience, usually muffin's pretty soft on the side. It's not going to take too much effort to get it removed from the pan. So what we're left with is our muffin, and what I'll do is I'll just peel the parchment back. Again, that goes in your trash bag, and it saves you from having a whole big old mess on the bottom. And we are left with our blueberry muffin. Looks pretty good, and I'm sure if I was on the trail, like I have been many times, that is quite the treat, and you sure will be the envy of anybody that goes along with you. And if you feel so inclined, feel free to share. But yeah, it turned out really well. The top's pretty done. It's not really tacky at all. It just didn't get brown quite as much as the sides. And I did use a whole Esbit tablet. As you can see, it burned completely. So yeah, overall I'm pretty happy. Yeah, let me cut it open and let's see what we've got. Okay, so we've got the muffin cut open. It is fully cooked. It's got that nice crust around the bottom. Yeah, I'll call that a success. Thanks for joining me for this video on dry baking. Hopefully you got a good idea of how I dry bake when I'm out backpacking. and some of the ways that I do it, especially the convenience factor is huge to me. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time cleaning up after I'm enjoying my treat. So if you guys like the video, feel free to give me a thumbs up. If you have a certain way of dry baking that works for you, I'd be interested to hear it, so please leave it down in the comments. If you have subscribed, thank you very much. If you haven't and you like the content that I'm putting out on this channel, feel free to subscribe and hit the bell notification so you can be alerted to my new videos. And as always, thank you very much for watching. You guys have a great day.